and welcome back to another Beyond Flat Earth. And I'm going to hand it over to the host with the most, Jason Laufenberg, Awake Souls. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
It's been an incredible week. Just incredible, man. So much ups and downs.
Yeah. Well, tonight I'm pumped because we've been venturing into some new territories. I don't know if you're catching the feedback. I'm getting an echo right now.
No, not me. It's clear as could be.
All right. Shoot, that echo is maybe a little tough to talk right now. Hopefully it clears up real quick. So this is a new program that we're using right now. This is called Zoom. It's so Ronnie and I have been talking to each other for how many months now? You remember?
At least 7.
Yeah, we've been doing things like Skype and Google Hangouts. And could you share with everybody what our experience has been like, trying to communicate with each other?
Well, the camera shut off. I can definitely say that it's been incredibly difficult. We go through constant feedback loops, distortions. Skype is like the worst communication broadcasting service, and like sometimes we have conversations where there's like more than the delay at the ISS, and we get through it.
Yeah. No, if nobody's ever done this before, when you're using internet technology to talk to somebody, if there's a delay, that's one of the trippiest things that I've ever experienced. When something that you're saying comes back to you like 20, 30 seconds later, it can really throw you for a loop. But so this is something new. You came across this, and we are giving it a whirl. This is the best thing that we've seen so far, right?
Oh, by far. It's incredible. There's like there's pretty much no distortion, no delay. The screen share is great. We've got some new tools for the more observational techie type people at home.
So we get some annotation tools that we get to use. We're going to be able to play the audio from the clips that we're sharing. If there's audio presented, you see that? Once we get lighting set up correctly for Ronnie, he can virtually place himself anywhere. I can do that too. There's a lot of bells and whistles with this, and I plan on using this, dialing it in. I know you do too. I just want to say that anybody that wants to reach out to us, since we're giving up on Skype, it's a disaster, and I guess we get to give up on Google Hangouts too, because we were getting sniped there. Out of all the Google Hangouts that go on in the world, you and we get sniped. What is nobody else? No, I know that there's like the Globebusters will say that they were too, but yeah. So we're getting trolled by the high ups. And so this Zoom here, I'm going to be able to give out people. You can find me. My name on here is Jason Laufenberg. If you want to communicate with me, I want to do it through Zoom with you. It's similar to Skype, but way better. We can share files. We can share images. We can transfer stuff. We can screen share. We've got all these things within the program. We can highlight things and move cursors around, and we're into education and trying to find the truth. And so these are the tools that they're using, in webinars and that kind of stuff. So
yeah, totally.
But we are still just learning it, and it's very, very fresh, and we're doing this really on the fly. you know.
It totally is. And, it's really enjoyable to be able to, learn together. I don't know why the lighting was so bad. It was so good earlier, but it's just a stumbling block. But like Jason was saying, please, this is about a community and being together. So if you can reach out, always do. If you have questions, we have had a lot of really good comments lately, Jay. I don't know how's your commenting section been with your videos.
I'm shocked. Well, so I've got that new channel, which is titled Jason Laufenberg, where I'm video blogging. So it's a flat earth video blog. And, so I just went through a number of videos where I do a brief overview of my past, from birth till now. It's done in 3 videos, a 10-minute, 11-minute, and 12-minute video. So I really do whiz through it pretty quick. You're doing it too. We're doing this vlogging thing. We're reaching out. We're trying to connect with people, and so I am getting comments from people that are much more personal now, and I'm thinking of ways. I'm working on ways. I'm trying to create ways to make it easier and have more of it. So I want to reach out and talk to as many people as possible. In this Zoom, we can do large conferences. We can there's ways to dial in. We can do in upcoming episodes of Beyond Flat Earth. We can take callers, and I want to answer questions live on air to the best that I can. So I'm not going to go out there and give answers about stuff I don't have knowledge on, but if it's something that I've worked on before, yeah, let's get the conversation going. Let's really start interacting with each other. Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. The people at home can't. They can see it. Sorry.
That's all right. So we were saying, like, beforehand with tonight, we started a conversation. How long ago did we start talking about an alternative energy thing?
Yeah, that was one of my first flat Earth video. Was actually free energy, flat Earth, and free energy. I'll pull it up. I'll let you. 1 second. I'm gonna pull it up. Yeah.
You're hilarious, man. Entering globe.
So basically, okay, it is working on the live feed. Hey everyone. 1 second. I'm just going back to it because sorry, I forgot the mic again. Sorry everyone. Just going back to the video because it was one of the first videos that I wanted to be a part of was the flat Earth and the free energy. I thought they went hand in hand. Take it away for a sec, Jay.
Okay. Well, so it was it's sort of recently. I had just put out on the Jason Laufenberg vlog a video that sort of threw a challenge out to everybody, and I sort of pressed you on it too. And I guess I just sort of like to play a clip from that now.
Sure.
Okay, where did it go? Here we go. Sorry, everyone, just getting comfortable with the new setup here. So this is I did this video 5.2, and I'm talking about unlocking your potential with simulation realization. And let's just give this section here a little listen. Think about it. Just choose
put me to the test, and you know what's going to happen is you're going to end up with some tangible thing that you just built. But think of something that you know there's the means to build it. All right? Design it up. Draw it down on a piece of paper. Use something like SketchUp 3D modeling. It's incredible. It's free. Design something and then build it. And start realizing the potential of what you have. Okay? It has to come with the thought of what you want to create first. Without that thought, nothing happens. So then once you have the thought of what it is that you want to create, you got to come up with a workable strategy of how this is possible. I mean, if you got to build tools to do it, you build tools to do it. Okay? But there has to be some sort of plausible way of making this thing work. Once you've designed it to that point, it can be built in this world. All you have to do is follow your model. And it'll turn out exactly the way you designed it. So what you put into your modeling right now is really the most critical thing that you can be doing with your life. What is it you're doing with your modeling potential? What world are you building?
All right. That was the point that I wanted to just get out there, that, you know, we had talked about this, and then I asked you, what is it, what's like the number one thing that you would like to build in this world that you think is possible for us to build, right?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So your response was like free or alternative energy where we can get disconnected from the grid, right?
Yeah. It took me a little pause to come up with the answer. You did surprise me with it, but the first thing that came to me was we could probably invent energy out of thin air. That was the first thought that sort of came to mind. Like, it just came to me through thin air, you know? And I was like, whoa. And you really, it was profound the way, because it was a rainy day. You know, I was doing work and doing things here and there. And then you just, bam, you hit me with that question. And it almost felt like it was really possible, even though I had no idea what path we were going to take.
Mm-hmm. So at first it started with the thought of what it is that you want to create, but it has to be something that you think has, like, there are the tangible means of making it come about. And so with free energy, you were there already. You felt that it was something that's a potential that can be realized, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you mentioned it, and I'm like, okay, well, I just put this video out there, and people are watching it. And so, you know, these are sort of big words. We can create whatever we want, right? As long as there's, you know, some sort of, you can come up with a tangible idea of how to do it. So you say free energy, and we start talking, and just like you just said, like the thought of free energy just came to you. The tangible means of how to do this came to me the same way, just like out of nowhere. And so I guess I might go off on a little bit of a rant here. Not a rant, but I sort of want to let everybody know why, it's Yahweh Shai, that all this comes from the Holy Spirit. When we have to give credit where credit is absolutely due. But there is, from my life history, you know, information that was in my memory database, my memory banks, that was the means by which this answer came to me. And what I'd like to talk about tonight is I really, really, really think that this thought that came up is a way that we can disconnect from the grid, like starting now, if we all work together. And so what it all boils down to is steam. And it seems sort of archaic, right? How does free energy have anything to do with steam? I had been thinking along the lines of sort of like atmospheric energy collectors and stuff like that, but I don't have the schooling to set up the equipment to be able to try to pull energy from the atmosphere. And I know it'd take me a long time, and I haven't started doing it, so chances are that is not a good road for me to pursue. But so steam, my brother is a union steam fitter. And so for people that aren't familiar with what a steam fitter is they are people that put together pipes that can handle high pressure. So they're the people that in buildings put in the sprinkler systems, and in factories, in refineries, power plants, things are under pressure, and we're going to be getting into that. It's obvious now why it's under pressure, because they're using steam. And so he's a union steam fitter, and he's worked in nuclear power plants. He's had the suit on. He's had the little counter on the lapel, that measures the radiation, and they're only allowed to be exposed to a certain amount of radiation. I want to say right up front, nukes are a hoax. My brother and I differ on this. He thinks that they're real. I do not. But he has told me his story, his testimony, and I'll be happy to show his side of it and my side of it. He's the one that told me about steam. So he's younger than me. He's 5 years younger than me, and he's working in these nuclear power plants. And what they do is these steam generator turbine changeouts. So they open up the nuclear power plant, and they take out the turbine that's in there, and they replace it, and they put in one that's more efficient. And until then, I had never considered. I also thought that nuclear power plants, nuclear energy was real, and that we were getting our energy from a nuclear reaction. But that nuclear power plant, they boil water. So that's what science says right now that they're doing in these nuclear power plants, is they're using the nuclear reaction to heat up water and boil it. And then and that boiled water turns into steam, and that steam turns turbines, and those turbines turn large alternators, and those alternators give us the electricity that we're all using. And so I'm just going to start clicking through here a little bit. You can stop me at any point, Ronnie, if I've been rambling on too long, if you have a question or something just pops up.
Got it, boss. I'm enjoying it very much.
So this is Wikipedia. This is steam, and I think most of the audience here understands what it is. When you heat it up at 212 degrees Fahrenheit, turns into a gas, and then we call it steam. All right. They use this big phrase here, the enthalpy of vaporization. This basically means the boiling point, or the amount of heat that it takes, like here, the 212, to get to the boiling point to turn water to steam, is the energy required to turn water into the gaseous form when it increases in volume by 1,700 times at standard temperature and pressure. 1,700 times water expands when it turns to steam. Okay? Right now, please just imagine 1 gallon of water. Picture it in a cube. Okay? Now, if you were to boil that water and turn that water to steam, it would take 1,700 of those. Okay, that expansion can be turned to mechanical work. It's a 1,700% turbo boost that we get just from the conversion of water to steam. That's the reason it says right here, this has been corrected. It says that piston type steam engines played a central role to the Industrial Revolution. We're going to cover this. And modern steam turbines are used to generate more than 80% of the world's electricity. You're going to see the rest of the stuff says 90%. And I figured out what the gap is. The gap is hydroelectric. That's the only electricity that we're using that wasn't created by steam, is hydroelectric, because they don't need to boil the water. They just use the pressure from the water in the dam to spin the turbines. Everything else, they create steam. And from the steam, they either run piston engines or they run turbines. And that's how all of our electricity is produced. Okay. I don't know why I was so dense that I didn't know this before, but I don't, from talking to my brother, learning that they use steam, I couldn't understand why they would go to that conversion. I thought there would be some way to take nuclear power to electricity. I thought steam was like going backwards, like steam locomotives or steam tractors or something like that. So you've got charts on the pressures and what they do here. Yeah, here it says about 90% of all electricity is generated using steam as the working fluid, nearly all by steam turbines. Steam turbines. So this is what they are doing on the large scale. What I'm going to talk about now is, why wouldn't we do this on the personal level? There's a 1,700% boost in your power that you get when you convert something, water to steam. So the Watt steam engine was the first type of steam engine to use a separate condenser. So this is what steam engines sort of look like here, the old ones. And this is a boiler over here. When I grew up in Wisconsin, we went from a oil burning heating system to a wood heating system. So I had to stoke the fire and carry the wood down into the basement, and we did get a natural gas backup in case we didn't keep the fire going. But you burn something, and then it goes through a boiler. And when it goes through the boiler, in houses, they don't turn it to steam. But in industrial places and in engines like this, you heat up the water enough that it turns to steam, and then you have that 1,700% boost. And then with steam, there's so many simple, super simple engines that it can be a single ram, it can be a double ram or cylinder. They've got V4s, V12s, and every concept that you can imagine. This steam can spin this wheel. And if this wheel is spinning, how many alternators do you think you can connect to that? All right, so for the handy home person that wants to get off the grid, this little boiler right here can spin this thing. Do you think you can hook an alternator up to this that would power your house? Yeah, I bet you could hook up an alternator to this, running off of this boiler that could power your whole neighborhood and then some. Probably 500 to 1,000 homes off of a setup like this. This is big scale. This is running small communities with that boiler. So the dynamo, it's an electrical generator. So once you have that rig, you're using your steam and you're converting it to some rotational energy with some sort of an engine. Originally, they used dynamos. And if you scroll through this, you'll learn that this commutation, the commuter, this is, the dynamo produces direct current, but I guess design-wise, they have sort of problems with these commuters. So little advancement in technology, and we went to the alternator. And take a look at this picture right here. These are alternators, early 20th century alternator. This is in the power generating hall of the biggest hydroelectric station in the Russian Empire. So this gets spun by the pressure of the water in a hydroelectric dam. But in all of the other power producing plants, they use steam to spin these things. And keep going here. They've made let's go to the Titanic. So steam power, using heat, boiling water, turning it to steam, running it through pumps. These are how the big ships were built. And they say that the horsepower was 50,000 horsepower. Now, from the research that I've been doing when it comes to steam horsepower and the horsepower that we're familiar with, not everything lines up. So there's different ways of measuring it. But what I've been finding is that the torque that steam engines have is unbelievable, absolutely off the chart. It's torque that you can use to turn big flywheels and to be able to spin huge alternators. And it doesn't take huge engines, you know. Yeah, sure, the Titanic was big, but it had two. If you look at this layout, they had all these boilers here producing the steam, but they only had two engines that were using that steam. And this is what the boilers looked like on the ship. So they stoked these with coal and heated it up, and they had furnace doors on either side. So they'd stoke it. They had this combustion chamber. Here, let me. I was going to try to bring up that pointer, but I don't see it right now. The heat goes up through tubes in water, and then it produces steam. That steam expands 1,700% from its water state. So it creates pressure in pipes. And we'll get to some diagrams down here. It's really interesting. They show these layouts as far as the coal and where it was positioned and how they did this. This is some working diagrams of the engines that shows they were using high pressure steam going into a first cylinder. And then they were taking the reduced pressure of that, running it into another cylinder. And they were using the reduced pressure of that going into another cylinder. And then that lower pressure that was coming off of these two engines, they were putting it through a turbine, and then through the turbine, they were extracting more energy. And then as it was getting lower and lower in pressure, then they would run it through condensers, turn it back to water, and the water feeds back into the system, through the boilers again. But it's the steam that drove the pistons that spun 3 huge propellers and turned on all the lights on the ship. And it actually has a refrigeration system too. This is how their refrigerators worked. So this is heating and cooling, power generation, moving of water. Steam did all that work. Some of this research that I've been doing recently, the Stirling engine is really interesting. They've got some diagrams here that show basically how they work. You have a heated cylinder, and then I'll get into some. So this is what a Stirling engine looks like here. I'm going to show you some videos of how these things work real quick. This is a closed system. Really, really interesting technology. So believe it or not, what I'm promoting here is us going back to steam power. And so what I'm envisioning is back at the early part of the Industrial Revolution. I want to show you how they were doing things. And for people that are interested in disconnecting from this satanic world, the rat race, unplugging, getting away from all that, I know my goal is to be out in the country, be able to produce my own energy, be able to maintain just a happy, comfortable lifestyle. I want to do things like cut my own wood. I want to split it. I want to stoke a furnace, and I want to make my own electricity, and I want to have fun using all that energy to do other, it can pump the water from the well. It can give you hot water. It's really unlimited, but you don't have to burn wood either. In fact, you can burn anything that burns for a system like this to work. So not just wood, it can be household refuse, it can be animal manure. Actually burns amazing. So you can burn the manure. If you can burn it, you can produce electricity with it. So let me just show you a little bit of this. I'm just going to sort of click through, and let me make this large, and I'll click through. So he's stoking the fire. He gets the fire going. This is a machine shop. So you can see over on the right-hand side here where that boiler is. And this right here is the engine. So once the boiler is up and boiling and producing steam, the steam is piped over here. I mean, look at this piping. I do this kind of piping all the time. This is galvanized piping. This is the piston. This is a single action piston. Now this flywheel has got some decent weight to it, but let's just let this run for a second here so you get a feel of what a steam-powered piston-driven engine looks like.
Power in the shop.
Running here. Let's find a place where it's running. So so here's the tools in the shop, and you can see that there's all these belts, and those belts go up to I think he's gonna get the shop going here in just a second. All right, so it looks like he's sort of starting it up right here. So that is a steam engine running there. Now let's take a look. Here's what he's got running. He's got all these pulleys, and those have belts that go down to the machine shop equipment. And this is all metal lathe equipment. You can carve metal and make parts. And this was the amazing point, that when we were talking about this, when we were looking at this information, you know, you are a machinist. You do this stuff, right?
Yeah. Actually, I come from, well, my father's father was, my dad's dad, my grandpa, was a tool and die maker. And I did an apprenticeship in high school because I wanted to get out of the classroom. And I was a die maker for about 2.5 years. And you know, it's so easy and simple, this whole process. So the pulleys and the belts and these, you know, this is basic threaded rods, nuts and bolts and wheels and welding. And that's all it is, really. It's not anything that, like, me and you could literally probably go to a scrapyard and build this. But let's say this man here, we have to give him some credit. He's done an amazing job. I just don't understand why he stopped at powering his shop. I'd be powering the whole house.
Yeah, so that is the thing. This is how our electricity is made, by spinning alternators. That's how our electricity is made, by spinning alternators. So every single one of these belts could be going to a super big alternator. All right, there is so much power just in that one little wood furnace, in that one little steam engine driving all this stuff. Just imagine the alternators you could be spinning with it. There's no doubt in my mind that each one of these belts right here could be spinning an alternator that would produce 10,000 watts. Okay, so I mean, you can create kilowatt. You can create, with scaling, we can create megawatt. That's what the big guys have done. This is all that it takes. And we'll get into other ways that we can. So this is a call out to everyone to get your brains spinning and start thinking about what steam can do. It expands 1,700%. And watch this guy machine metal with it. And then think about how many alternators you could get this to spin. So he's cutting and carving metal just off of this belt here, off of that one little steam engine, off of that little boiler. And in some of his other videos, it's funny, like, he'll be stoking the fire in the morning, getting ready, running, you know, to run his equipment. And it'll be like a limb that came out of a tree. Instead of like nice cut firewood, he's like, ooh, this wood stinks. And it's just a limb that came out of a tree in the front yard, and that's how he can run his shop. It's amazing. So let's keep going here. Let me make this a little bit larger so that people can see it. So here's an interesting article. Backwoods Home Magazine. Is steam power in your future? This is back in 1997. And here's an example of a little steam engine. The research that I've been doing, you mostly find toys. It's really hard to find the big steam equipment, or even, yeah, there is no, it's toys, or it's hard to find. But it is actually stuff that we can make. We can make it ourselves. So boats, yeah, steam powered boats, very popular thing. A lot of hobbyists into that. Here's other power. Make your electricity from scratch. All right. Make this maybe one more bigger. And so from watching that other video, we now know that what we're looking at right here is a boiler. So it's got the wood you stick in over here. There's pipes that go through here. There's a jacket that's filled with water, and when it boils, the steam comes off. As steam comes through this pipe, and this is the engine. This is another single piston acting engine. They've got this, fantastic flywheel over here. Just imagine all the kinetic energy that you get built up and spinning something like that. And then this over here is a homemade alternator that they made themselves. So there's a boiler, there's a setup. Here's some of the parts that they're working with. And get another view of it there. See, they made their own alternator. So alternators use magnets and coils of wire. And based on how many wraps you do and the gauge of the wire, stuff like that, that determines how strong of a magnetic field that you're going to pick up from this, the size of it. When you scale it up larger, you get more. And so this shows how they made their alternator. Or they got some magnets on it. You can make an alternator any size you want. It's just got to be scaled up. So they've got it set up there. And they're stoking it up now. They're getting it running. Got this nice little gauge on there. With that the one single little alternator that they made. Okay? Just one. How many alternators do you think you could spin on that shaft? All right, I'm guessing that you could probably spin 1,000 alternators on that shaft. And you could probably make them a whole lot larger too. So one homemade alternator is producing 2,000 watts here. All right. That's enough to run an average house. Now you do have higher peak demands, but if you average it out over the year, that is about enough. But the point is you could add more alternators, or you could make them bigger. Okay? You don't have to stay with the one small one. You can spin as many as you want. And each one of those is going to produce this. So all of a sudden, this 2,000 watts could be, 100,000 watts or 200,000 watts, or, you name it. And that's running off of that little boiler, that one little single pump thing. So there's going to be a whole bunch of misinformation out there that people, I've been stumbling across it. The shills and trolls are trying to gatekeep big time on steam. Okay, they don't want us going back and using steam again. It'll ruin their whole fossil fuel thing, which I'll share in just a second. But here's reliable steam engines. These are the steam engines that I want to get my hands on right now, or make one like it. I think it'd be fun to make it, actually. But if we could find a cheap one too, this is how we start demonstrating the power and the potential, and actually doing the engineering, figuring out, you know, all right, how big do we want to make this? How much power do we want to produce, type things. But yeah, this 4 horsepower, 5 horsepower, 6 horsepower, 7 horsepower. You know, you get into the V4, single acting. Look, this bottom one here is a 200 horsepower, 4 single acting. This is running off of steam. It's producing 200 horsepower. How big of a flywheel do you think you could get spinning with 200 horsepower? And how many alternators do you think you could drive off of that? I think if you got creative, it would be a lot. So those are the old steam engines. People are making newer steam engines. This green steam engine, it's got a different concept to it than those other single action ones that we're looking at. Here they are working on direct drive generator complete system. Okay. Complete systems include boiler, steam recycling, closed loop, hot water, water distiller, remote space heating, and electrical generation. That's what we can get from steam, everybody. We just got to boil water. So boiler, steam recycling, closed loop, hot water. You get hot water from it. You can get a water distiller from it. Remote space heating and electrical generation. It does all of that. So I'm just going to give you a peek of what this thing looks like when it runs. It's got a different action to it. So those of you out there that are creative, you can take the steam and run it through a cylinder and do all different things. They've got a car alternator, you know, mounted, you know, some sort of just regular car or marine alternator sitting there on the side. We're running it no problem. In fact, I'm guessing that you could run a much larger alternator, and that they're probably super underselling the potential of this. The same company has this solar array thing that this reflects up to a receiver end up here. This is all focused up to the receiver end, and the solar energy boils the water, and you'll see there's their machine again. So just let this play right here. So you don't have to burn something. You can use the sun to boil the water as well. You can have a system set up that capitalizes on catching the solar when it's available. And then if the sun's not available, you can you could burn some branches that came down from your tree. So this right here is a demonstration of the Stirling engine, and these are interesting. This is a little different concept, but it does the same thing. You can you can burn anything. The heat that you create in this type of engine will drive a cylinder as well. So this it's steam because it's air, but it's a closed loop system, which is a little different. So I just want people to check this out and realize that there's different types of engines, different ways that we can burn stuff, but we can make our own power. we absolutely can do this. Ronnie's a machinist.
Translated
I'm a
back into
welder.
cool air. The piston moves back and forth in here. This has got about a 200-degree difference. We've got a fuel source down here, and the flywheel moves the piston in and out, which is actually all the difference you're seeing in how far the piston moves is all that it takes to make it run. So we're not and that this back here is, because you can see it pretty well, it's part of a heat collection system that pulls heat out of there and pumps it back in. So
So you can get an engine like that really humming. And, you know, this is just a demonstration. If you were trying to be efficient about it, you would have a closed heat box and, you know, control your heat source so that you're not wasting energy. And you'd scale up the size of it to drive whatever you needed to drive. So this demonstrates the action of what's going on inside of a Stirling engine. They're using this glass tube so you can see how this thing works. It's like the last one. So this, let's see here, he shows, there's the action. It's a closed system. Just by heating the one end, this will, that'll drive a flywheel, and that flywheel will spin the armature of an alternator. And this right here, you know, is generating electricity right now. So with scaling, these types of systems, very, very safe. Really interesting things that can be done with the Stirling engine. This is just another example of it, the nano cannon Stirling engine. This is interesting. This is a Kickstarter. And look at how beautiful this thing is. You got this nice little engine like this. Well, from what I understand, the Kickstarter is so that you can purchase these things. All right, but
They're selling toys.
they're selling toys.
Are they even mentioning anywhere on the website what is the purpose of this model, please?
No, I don't think they educate you on that. It just looks cool, right?
So it's a demonstration that engine can run off of heated thin air.
Yes, that it is a demonstration of that, but they don't tell you that you could actually power your house, your neighborhood, or a ship, or a car, or a locomotive with that technology. They do not mention that.
It's incredible, honestly.
So I mean, my research, there's not a lot out there. Steam is pretty much dead. You know, there's some old timers that are hanging in there. Kimmel Steam Power. I've only clicked on a couple of these links. So this is what people that like to build stuff, you know, people that are machinists and people that are mechanics and people that know how to weld. These are projects that they've made. And so the Green Monster was put together by Howard Langdon. He used to drag he used to drag race Corvettes and Chrysler Hemis and beat them. Rumors are that this car went 130 miles per hour on the back roads.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he put logs in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's incredible.
So cars, I mean, that's the thing. As I've been looking at this, why wouldn't you want to go convert to steam? Convert to steam, convert to steam, convert to steam, because you get a 1700% power boost, because water expands 1700% when it turns to steam. It's all power boost. So an internal combustion car, you're taking the fuel and you're burning it, and from that, the burning, the explosion, you're driving, you're creating the mechanical energy to turn your wheels. If instead the fuel that you had in your gas tank, you ran it to like a Bunsen burner type thing, and that Bunsen burner heated up a chamber, a boiler that boiled water, you get a 1700% boost to your energy, to your BTUs, to the heat, the energy that you were burning from the fuel that you have in your tank. You get a 1700% boost by converting to steam.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are funny. I mean, people have had some fun building these things. These are steam powered. They've got cars. I mean, the motorcycle boiler, right? Guy made a motorcycle with a steam boiler on it. I don't know. There's so many things. Oh, the Byron tractor. So it passed me up. I guess I'm young enough that I knew that there were steam locomotives. I didn't really pay attention to the fact that there were steam tractors as well. But now I am, and holy cow, are they incredible. Let me show you a clip here quick of what a steam tractor can do. So these are tractor pulls, and if you're familiar with tractor pulls, if you're country at all, there's this sled behind the tractor that as the trailer is pulled, that sled's pulled forward, and so it adds more and more weight to the back until usually, unless if somebody's driving a super tractor, usually they come short of doing a full pull. And so this is just hilarious here. This is a steam tractor.
This was the largest manufacturer of steam tractors. The Rome increased cake arrived in the United States through the St. Lawrence Seaway. He was selling threshing machines on his way. Not only design, he sold threshing machines to other manufacturers. Somebody started manufacturing his own.
He wasn't stopping, eh?
He's not stopping. The weight went all the way up on the sled, and it didn't even phase that thing whatsoever. And that steam engine is rated 110 horsepower. And it says right here, update, some information about the engine from the owner. We run at 150 PSI. That's nothing. That's nothing. How many alternators do you think that thing could spin? And how big?
You know, quite a few, especially if you like take the larger to the smaller and then you like maximize the you just basically get it tuned. Like,
yeah.
It's,
oh, and you can create massive flywheels that hold all that kinetic energy. It's just insane. This is like a tractor like that could make large scale power.
Don't they show how far he goes and then how far, let's say, another tractor goes? I can't remember if they did or not.
It's not in this video. Let me pull up what the modern ones look like. This is hilarious.
I've been to quite a few.
Oh.
They're fun tractor truck pulls.
I've been to a few.
I prefer drag racing, personally, over any other motor vehicle sport combined. So as quick as you can go from here to there, that's what a race should be, in my opinion. But there's no need to turn left 4,000 times. There's no need to like try and drift. It's how fast can you get from this point on Earth to that point on Earth? That to me is, or how much can you pull from this part of the Earth to this part of the Earth? That's another equal event.
All right, so this thing looks crazy, right?
Well, how many valves is that? Say NASA?
Yeah, probably. I wish you would say what the horsepower on this thing is.
Get out of the way!
Good job.
That's for no problem.
Look at how crazy that is. That steam engine, see, these guys, if they don't have all their timing, if they don't get their speed going at a certain point, it won't work for them. And that steam engine, it could just chug away like as long as it wanted. It could have kept pulling that thing until the fire went out.
He hit the brakes.
So I guess I want to do a little bit of warning to people right now. When you start looking into steam as a viable way to get yourself disconnected from the satanic world, it's not in harmony with the New World Order's agenda, okay? The information that you're going to initially find is going to try to steer you away from it. You got to fight through it. You got to have eyes of discernment, and I'm confident that you, Ronnie, and me working together, we could build a working model. If we had help from others, I think it would turn out a whole lot better. But this is not. So most people, when they have these types of like revelations, epiphanies type stuff, they want to monetize it somehow. You know, they want to get the patent on it, and they want to get all the rights, and they want to fight over how much they're going to be able to keep to themselves. And not me, not you.
No, we just want to see it work. Well, actually, I just want to start making some power. I could use it right here, right now.
Right now, yeah.
I got lots of wood outside, brother. And you know what? The trees are renewable. Well, actually, you know, trees, anything that grows is renewable. Anything that has a seed is renewable.
The cow manure, man, you can burn it.
So yeah, get this. Not only the cow manure, but the trees. You burn them, you grow more trees.
Yeah.
And well, everything basically is the smoke and the exhaust that comes from burning the trees feeds the plants that you replant. It's like a completely symbiotic, renewable, free, worldwide energy that's here right now, right here, right now.
Yeah. So if you follow the current headlines, you know, the carbon tax is in the headlines right now. Al Gore's $15 trillion proposal for the global tax. But when you this article here is sort of an anti-Gore article, but when you read through it, the whole article, Al Gore has been demonizing fossil fuels. All right. Fossil fuels do not exist. They're not fossils because dinosaurs did not exist. Dinosaurs are a hoax. Fossil fuels are a hoax. We don't really know what that oil stuff is in the ground. It's a bio something. It seems like the way the earth works, it filters things out at different layers. And apparently at some layer it makes oil, but it's not fossil fuels. It's not a fuel that's going to run out. Earth keeps producing oil over and over. Here in Texas, one of the headlines is that the old oil wells that they ran out, they were empty, they had pumped them dry, are filled back up again. So it's a renewable source as well. So we're being lied to on the energy thing big time. And so there are some current headlines on Steam. This was in 2014. The Segway inventor Dean Kamen thinks his new Stirling engine. We went through the Stirling engine, how those works. They're a closed system, will get you off the grid for under 10K. Well, this came out in 2014, and you know, I hadn't heard about it. Nobody's saying steam. This is how you get off the grid. So here's another article. This is the kind of stuff that you can expect as you're doing research on Steam. Here's where they try to steer you the wrong direction. And these articles are all labeled like "Ask the Experts." All right. So you're supposed to see yourself as being incompetent and not knowing. So ask the experts. And on the topic of steam electricity, they're really going to try to steer you away from it. They're going to tell you that it's going to blow up. You know, you might blow yourself to kingdom come. They're not safe. They're not reliable. Yet all of your energy is produced by steam, except for the hydroelectric dams. So you're going to see that they're trying to misdirect you as you start doing research on this. So just a heads up on that. I found this image here. This is a cutaway of a steam locomotive. And this thing is really pretty. I would love to build one of these things. It's got a firebox. That firebox has tubes connected to it. These heat up. This is in a water jacket. They keep this filled with water. It turns it to steam. That steam goes up here. They take the steam pressure, and there's these pistons, one on each side again. This train, they could go up inclines and pull, loaded cars behind it. This steam driving these pistons, these single acting pistons here, drove these wheels. And I don't know. I've been doing some research on the horsepower comparisons and stuff like that. The torque that you get off of these things. Hopefully there are people out there that we sit down and we look at these numbers together and we start figuring these things out, coming up with the calculations, how big of a firebox do we want? How much steam, what pressure do we want to run it at? How big of a flywheel are spinning, and how many alternators can we connect to it? See how much energy we can produce. This locomotive, I don't understand why it couldn't power a city. I just don't get it. And that to me is, I wanted to get that out there to everybody, get people thinking about how you can use steam to turn it into a mechanical energy to create electricity. I have a feeling that we could power large things with small amounts of burnable things, and be able to do it on our own out in the country, away from the city. And we can pump water with it. We know that. We can heat water with it. We know that.
We could run hot tubs with it.
You can run all of your machinery via the belts like they did in the 1920s, or you could take the electricity that you're creating and you can run electric motors. You name it, really. Once you have that 1700% boost of water converting to steam, you can really be creative of how you want to use that new boosted energy. And I'm excited about this. I mean, I really do want to start building something right away. You set up your Patreon account already. I still got to get mine set up. We've got our vlogging channels. Yours, Ronnie Harris, me, Jason Laufenberg. We're vlogging, flat earth vloggers. We're always beyond flat earth, always. And we want to make free energy. So if there's anybody out there that sees the potential in this, that want to talk to us, Ronnie's a machinist. I can weld and build things, and we could actually make one of these things, and together, and we could do it. We could video the whole thing. We could vlog it live, and that would actually publish. This means this ability to people get off the grid, have their own power source. They could watch that on our channels. We're not monetized, but through the Patreon, we could collect the money to buy the materials and things that we would need to start making these and showing people how to make them. And, if there's an elderly person out there that doesn't want to actually do the welding and the machining themselves, there's always going to be people out there. I'd be happy to go build these things for people. I would love to see this thing grow. I would love to see this grow and just see everybody disconnect from this world. And I think your idea, you're the one that came up with the idea. I do think it is the right thing to focus our energy and attention into right now. And I do put it at the top of the priority list for how we use our modeling and rendering capabilities in this world.
without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So I guess that's it for Steam tonight. I know you had some stuff that you wanted to share, so I will take a break from speaking.
No, it's been great. I've really enjoyed the presentation and just the thought process that gets involved with putting these things together, with going beyond flat Earth, and we are going to do that. That's without a doubt. Trying to think here. Like I could, it's interesting to think like how far the road really has come, and how far we have, like, so mechanically thinking, all we'd have to do really is basically just start building them. I don't know if they're gonna, what type of problems do you think we're gonna run into when trying to build a concept here?
Problems. Well, the big fear monger thing is that you're going to build something that's going to explode, right? It's going to blow up.
Yeah.
So my recommendation is that whatever we build, we put maybe more than one pressure valve. Let's do 2 or 3 or 4.
Well, I got another really good idea too. We encase it with concrete.
Yeah.
And once you run it, you shut the door.
Yeah, it can be totally explosion proof if that's what people are worried about. But I think once we get into the actual engineering on these things, I think what you're going to see is you're going to need a relatively small stove. It's not going to take much in order to create the heat. If we're smart, have fire boxes that have venting that, turbocharge the air and bring the heat up to, high heat with low amounts of fuel. Have the boiler systems set up in efficient ways that, you're capturing as much of your heat as possible. And then the engines that you use, super efficient engines. Now, one of the things that I came across is, we were looking at some of these engines that are running at like 150 PSI, which isn't that high. It's not a big deal. But in the research that I was doing, the engines that I was coming across, there's powerful engines that can run on very low pressure as well. I was seeing engines that were running on 3 PSI, and that's not much. That's not going to hurt anybody ever. We can probably blow on an air gauge and get 3 PSI.
It's not very much. It's going to be interesting seeing what we get, because I know there's quite a few diversified listeners that do mechanically build things, and hopefully this dawns on them that, hey, it's a pretty easy solution to the New World Order chaos hydroelectric scam.
That's how they're making their electricity, is with steam. They're running it through turbines, steam turbines.
Steam, that was the first thing that came up.
So there's turbine engines, there's the piston engines. It's 2017. We've got 3D modeling. We've got software we can run simulations. I don't understand why we can't model this up using simulation data, design models, and man, some of this stuff can probably be 3D printed, but the machines, CNC machines these days, will go right from your 3D model that you make in software. It'll print it exactly. So that's how the simulation works. Once you can model it up and you have a tangible, viable, means of making something work, it just comes into being in this world. We can make this happen, and we can do it on YouTube. We can do it, you know, free, and the information can go viral everywhere.
Sorry. Yeah, no, it's going to. I believe it's already well on its way, especially with that presentation that you just provided. There's really no denying what the future holds. It's just incredible that we're going back, you know, well over 100 years, you know.
I know, but why wouldn't you take the 1700% boost?
Yeah, no, it's just common sense. Like, not only the amount of thrust that you could spin all the turbo. Well, it's already what they're doing. So, steam,
Yeah, we need to do it.
The power plants showed up on the Google search. I was like, oh, interesting. And then you see the smokestacks that come out of the plants. They're just steam.
The power places around here, yeah, it's steam coming out. That's because they're using steam to run their generator or their alternators.
I just it would be nice to actually build. I'm pretty sure the CNC machines have come quite a long way since I did tool and die. So you probably do. You put the proper 3D modeling skills to work, and you know, it'll carve it out for you, and then bolt it together, and put the wood in it, light it, you know, and start pumping power, people.
Yeah. What do you think of? This has been about an hour and a half. What do you think about wrapping up tonight with just the steam thing? I know you had some stuff presented, and then maybe ready to present, but then maybe like you and I, either tomorrow or the next day or whatever, we'll pump out another show, but leave the whole energy thing sort of just wrapped up in one
Sounds
package.
Good. No, yeah, I'm with you, man. I think you did an excellent job tonight. I was just blessed to be involved, and thankful that Yahushua is with us and giving us that help that we all need. And yeah, you did an amazing job, Jay. I'll let you take it out, man. Just an amazing job.
We're on Zoom, everybody. I'm using my name. I've got a new channel. It's vlogging. You know, please subscribe to these things. These are where I'm able to get my message out. You know, I can record, I can publish, I can get it out quick. In this new video, I do ask people, ask me questions in the comments that you want to hear vlog answers to. And then when I'm out vlogging, I will try to put that answer into the vlog content. So just trying to be smart about how we communicate with each other, get connected, get to know each other, work together for finding the truth. So Ronnie, please tell us what you're doing, what we need to check out. And thank you so much for your help, brother.
Yeah, no, it was wonderful. Thank you too. Yeah, I got the Ronnie Harris vlogging channel. I was inspired by you, and I've taken steps towards being more open and more honest on here. It's not easy because you know, you're gonna get trolled anyways for questioning the mainstream or the main you know, thinking process, but it's been a great awakening. I'm looking for the same kind of you know, a flow with people. If you don't feel like commenting and you don't feel like checking it out, that's cool too. Same with the Patreon. I'm not asking for money. I'm just saying, if somebody wants to put a project into work or be involved in something, they can support the program that way, just like I will if I can, which I probably will be able to. And we could get some awesome experiments going on. We could build this Stirling powered, well, the Laufenberger, we were coining the first model is going to be Laufenberger, and we're going to get power out of it. It's really simple.
It is simple. So thank you, everyone. And this is Beyond Flat Earth, getting off the grid. We'll talk to you soon. We've got a lot more.